From MNT-EC, the Micro Nano Technology Education Center, this is Talking Technicians, the podcast about technicians, who they are, what they do, and where they come from. I'm your host, Peter Kazarnoff. I teach technicians and engineers at Portland Community College. In each episode, you'll meet a working technician and hear their story. That means real interviews with real technicians about real jobs. At the end of each episode, you'll hear actions you can take if you want to be a technician too. In this episode, you'll meet Alberto. Alberto is a technician at Wolfspeed in Marcy, New York, outside Utica in upstate New York. Alberto, welcome to Talking Technicians.
Thanks, Peter. I'm glad to be here.
Alberto, you work at Wolfspeed in Marcy, New York, but you didn't grow up in upstate New York. So where'd you grow up, and then how'd you make your way there?
So I grew up in New York City, 18 years of my life. Then I actually went to college, I guess a trade school, Universal Technical Institute in Exton, Pennsylvania. And I was a full Toyota certified mechanic. I worked at Mercedes, Toyota, and Chevy for the first couple years of my adult life. Then decided I wanted a little bit of change, and I joined the military. Decided to go up the U.S. Air Force, and I was a C-17 crew chief for almost 8 years, and I thought that I didn't want to do that anymore, and I found the vet step program through Kate Alcott. That's how I ended up here in upstate.
Well, let's talk a little bit more about that journey, Alberto. So you said that when you got out of high school, you went to trade school and then worked as an automobile mechanic. So what kind of skills and things did you learn from trade school that you brought to that?
The skills that I learned, I guess, it's more attention to detail, I guess. I was able to develop my attention to detail more than anything. Because I still am a klutz, I guess. But my ability to be in my own head, I guess, is a big one. How well can you gather your thoughts and actually do something is another big one, actually, because you can think all day, but if you don't do anything, then you're just spending time thinking and just sitting there.
So, Alberto, after that, you worked as an automobile mechanic and then went into the military. What did you bring from working as an automobile mechanic into your military experience?
So, luckily, the mechanical portion of the military is basic. Well, I guess to start from the beginning, all mechanical work is the same no matter which field you go into. So, it's easily translatable to other mechanical fields. Different things that you do learn from being a car mechanic and into the military is actually the discipline portion of it. Ironically, right? Military, you have to be super disciplined and do what you're told and all that. But no, it was relatively easy transitioning from a car mechanic to an aircraft mechanic. I picked it up very fast, faster than a lot of my peers, I'd like to think.
So, Alberto, then you worked as an airframe mechanic in the military, and then you said after that you moved to this vet step program. So tell me a little bit more about that program and how your military experience helped you in that program.
So, well, in this day and age, experience beats any college degree. Even if even if it's a hobby, any experience is just better than coming out straight out of college with a degree, because it shows that you can, you actually have some practical knowledge on what you're working on. And with the military and going into the vet step, I guess it was more, and through the whole program, it sort of showed that I can listen and follow directions because I mean, especially in the semiconductor industry, the technical manuals are kind of similar to the military, where it is you have to do everything in step orders, if that makes sense. So you'd have to follow it by the book, no deviations, and you have to do it consistently that way every single time. Yeah.
So you've got these standard operating procedures, and you've got to do those the same every time when you're in the military. And then similarly,
hmm
now in the semiconductor industry, you've got to do those the same
hmm
every time. How
Yep.
long was the Vet Step program, and what are the kind of things that you did during it?
So the initial training, I guess the school crunch was 2 weeks. Then the actual apprenticeship was scheduled for 8, but I got lucky enough and it extended up to 10 weeks.
And
10
what?
weeks.
And while you were doing this, the apprenticeship portion, did you get paid by the company, or was that part of the educational experience?
So I actually got continued being paid by the military. While I was in the apprenticeship program, I was very fortunate enough that I was, yeah, getting paid. They were able to offer me a job once the apprenticeship was over, so I can't really complain either. So yeah, so I didn't struggle in any way, shape, or form. I was all right. Uh,
Nice. So it sounds like one of the advantages of this Vet Step program is not only the things you learn, but that you were able to keep your military pay during it. And then after it, you were able to secure employment out in the civilian sector.
yep.
So tell me a little bit about Wolfspeed and what you do there. You started out working on cars, then on airplanes, and now microchips. What do you do at Wolfspeed?
So my official job title is a manufacturer equipment technician. I work in wet and dry etch. I'm more so in the wet etch. I work on tools that deal with think of it like a car wash, right? First you go in, you start wetting the car, right? And then you spray soap, then you get the machine that blows all that off, and then you polish the car, and then once it's all nice and polished, you give it once more wash, and then another rinse, and now the car is squeaky clean. That's basically what wet etch is. All we're doing is grabbing the silicon wafer, buffing it all out, take because all the processes are all dirty and they're they can cause cross contamination. We just want to make sure that the wafer is clean for the next step of the process. All I'm doing is just maintaining those specific machines.
So you're maintaining these machines, and those machines are the things that build microchips and other devices out of silicon. Can you
hmm
describe for me what's a typical day like for you at Wolfspeed? What do you do at the beginning, the middle, and the end?
So at the very beginning of shift, I get there 15 minutes early because I still can't break that habit from the military. I get there 15 minutes early and I get a general pass down from the previous technician. Um, I'm I'm a little bit more on the hard-headed side and just tell me what needs to be done. I don't need you to tell me what you have done because it's already been complete. What haven't you completed and what needs to be done is really more important. That's normally the first 30 minutes to an hour of the shift. After that, I start to get my plant going and I look over what scheduled preventative maintenance that needs to be done onto the actual tool. Around like 8, 9 o'clock ish, I talk to the actual equipment engineer, the individual that owns the tool, and I give him my plan, like, hey, this is what I'm going to do. And some days my plan is wrong, and he dictates that that, hey, maybe we should do this, or the days he's like, yeah, sure, go do whatever. I have to do this and this on this other tool, so I really like, so I'm yeah. And that's basically my entire 12-hour shift. And after that, It's a rinse and repeat. I give my what needs to be done to my next counterpart. Yeah, that's basically it.
So at the beginning of the shift, you have this pass down and you see it was done before. Then you do your work during the shift. And then at the end of your shift, you have to give pass down to the next person that's coming on. So
hmm
it sounds like this is shift work. What's your schedule like?
So my specific schedule is 12-hour shifts, 4 to 3 days a week.
And
There is the long week where I work Sunday to Wednesday, then the short week is Sunday to Tuesday.
do you work the day shift or do you work the night shift?
I work the day shift currently.
Can you describe a little to me about the benefits? How much would somebody expect to make as a semiconductor technician?
So depending on the experience and depending on what level you are, since I'm a level 2 and I make between 28 and 33 an hour.
So,
That's without overtime too, because this is very well, this industry's or overtime conscious. So I get an automatic time and a half after 40 hours. So
so you've got your hourly rate, and then you've got some differentials if you like work overtime shifts. Are
hmm
there other benefits to working for Wolfspeed, things like health insurance or retirement?
yes, I mean I get at least in my retirement, they match up to 6%. The health insurance is from what I've hear, or from what I've heard from other individuals, is fantastic. From different um, companies at least, comparatively, like ironically, one of my friends is a nurse and she says I have better health insurance and she works at a hospital, so I can't complain. I don't get hurt, but I don't pay a lot on health insurance. I can definitely tell you that much. And yeah.
What about opportunities for professional advancement? You mentioned that you're a level two technician. Did
hmm
you start at a level one, and like what can possibly come next for you?
So I started off as a level 2 only because of my previous mechanical experience translates very well to this industry. Compared to someone in college, they would start off as a level 1 technician with very little pay, and then once you make about 5 years of experience in at least doing mechanical work, that's when you become a level 2. At level 3, it's 10 years. Level 5 is 15. Level 3 is 15. You just have to wait your time, and that's when technicians can start making the good bucks.
So you've got these different levels, and you can attain those levels by working in the industry for a certain number of years, and then that'll give you a pay bump when you go
hmm
up to that next level.
hmm
So, Alberto, what did it feel like the first time you walked into the Wolfspeed fab? You'd worked on aircraft and on cars. What's
hmm
it like being in the semiconductor industry for the first time?
Well, it's very clean, tell you that much. Very, very clean. I've actually lost a lot of my calluses, which I'm kind of mad about. I wear gloves every single day. Uh, as even though this is a quote unquote dirty job, it's significantly cleaner than any job I've ever done. It is, it's insane actually. And I get to work in climate controlled weather. Oh,
Mhm.
such a blessing, actually. Because I was working in the Air Force, I was working anywhere between like negative 200 degrees.
Mhm. Mhm.
So, and in the aircraft, we have a general in the aviation industry, we have a general saying, whatever it is outside, it's the worst of two evils in the jet. So, yeah, if it's 30 degrees or if it's cold in the jet, it's even oh, sorry, if it's colder outside, it's
Mhm.
even colder in the jet. And it's aggravating. But now it is literally 20 degrees Celsius in the fab at all times.
So, Alberto, it sounds like this is a pretty enjoyable job. How did you find out about the Vet Step program? And then would you recommend that to other people who are in the service right now?
So the way I found the VetStep program was through the Skill Bridge program for the military. It's an opportunity for service members to leave the military early while still getting paid by them,
Hmm.
and it allows them to have apprenticeship experience, whether they or a quote unquote job once they're done with their contract. And I would definitely recommend the VetStep program uh, to anyone that is leaving the military. It is definitely worth it. Especially Kate, she was amazing. She helped me out every step of the way. It was actually kind of stressful. I almost wasn't able to go because of the whole military, but I had an amazing command. I had amazing mentors while I was in the military, and every single one of them supported my decision on leaving. Even though they were sad to see me go, they knew that the military could run without me.
So, Alberto, what advice would you give current service members or people who want to transition their careers and work as a technician like you in the semiconductor industry?
I guess I would say just go for it. Find any community college and get yourself, or any fast track program that can get your foot in the door. Use that GI Bill, do whatever you can, because the pay is great. There's probably a million ways to probably get into the industry. Create your LinkedIn account, start connecting people. There's especially with the semiconductor industry growing in the United States, especially if you're just in upstate New York. We're building, well, there's Micron that's building a fab near Syracuse. There's Global Foundries, there's Wolfspeed, there's small amounts of fabs getting built up here
Hmm.
that there's really no reason. And considering this entire industry, I would, in my personal experience, I've seen like 70% of vets working as technicians, which was kind of an eye opener for me. I was actually kind of surprised and relieved. I get to still be the same old self from how I was in the military,
Hmm.
with a dash of professionalism. Of course.
Thanks, Alberto. Yeah, it's really interesting to learn that maybe when you're in the service, you don't know that there are a lot of people that work just like you who are out as technicians in the semiconductor industry. But then when you transition and you move into civilian life and work in that industry, then all of a sudden you find all these people who are
Mm.
working as technicians.
Yep.
Yeah. So, do you have a final call to action for students or people who want to work as a technician like you?
Come over. We need you. Actually, we're very low manned. Believe it or not. Please. We actually need you, regardless if you don't have any experience. A lot of this can be taught. It's not very hard to learn. It does take time, but um, I've noticed that more people in this industry are more willing to teach, because it is, as much as I don't want to say it, you can get yourself hurt if you don't know what you're doing. So safety is actually a big thing for us. But definitely, like, come over. We will teach you everything the correct way, the right way the first time. That way you can, have a very successful career in this industry.
Alberto, that's great to know that the semiconductor industry is hiring technicians and that there's a training available so you can do that job well and safely. So, thank you so much for sharing your story with me and being on the Talking Technicians podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Please keep in touch. Talking Technicians is produced by MNT-EC, the Micro Nano Technology Education Center, through financial support from the National Science Foundation's Advanced Technological Education Grant Program. Opinions expressed on this podcast do not necessarily represent those of the National Science Foundation. Join the conversation. If you are a working technician or know someone who is, reach out to us at info@talkingtechnicians.org. We're always looking out for great guests to share more stories with you.